Wise Guy Bets here with some DFS picks for today, 8/21/2021. We're looking at the main slate that starts at 7:05 p.m. Eastern Time. There's 5 games on the slate, so my exposure will be limited tonight. Probably only bet 2% of my bankroll. Kind of spread that out over double ups and GPP, which are tournaments. But my exposure will be limited because of the limited number of games. 5 games is just a small number to me. You got to be right on or get very lucky to cash in tournaments, and even you got to be right on with your cash games in a small lineup like this. So let's get right into it and let's look at the pitcher position. At pitcher, I'm looking at J.A. Happ for St. Louis. His projection on that is 15.3 fantasy points. He has a 6.03 ERA. He's pitching around 5.2 innings per game. He's averaging 9 fantasy points over 22 games. His last 3 pitched pretty well, 12, 24, 17. He's 7,600 on DraftKings. The Pirates are actually only batting 1 for 19 against him. That's limited sample size, but he has had great success against the Pirates. His last 5 against Pittsburgh has been 0-0, 27, 25, 24. I think he easily exceeds the 15.3. On a small slate like this, you got to get your pitchers right. So, hey, J. Happ has to come through for me tonight, or do my lineups probably will not cash at all. So I'm looking at J. Happ to do something at the pitcher position tonight. Let's look at the catcher position. At catcher, I'm looking at Christian Vazquez for Boston. His projection on that is 6.8 fantasy points. He has 5 homers on the season. He's batting .253. He's getting around 3.4 at bats per game. He's averaging 6 fantasy points over 105 games. His last 3 games, fantasy point-wise, has been 17, 0, and 7. He's 3,200 on DraftKings. He's 2 for 2 against the pitcher he's facing, 2 singles. His last 5 against Texas has been 18, 3, 0, 15, and 7. Again, at the catcher position, it's tough. Don't really want to pay up, and I really don't see much to pay up for. So I'm basically going with the numbers here and selecting Mr. Vazquez. I think he's probably the best, one of the better choices for the salary tonight. So Christian Vazquez is someone I'm going to try to get into my lineup at the catcher position. Let's look at first base. At first base, I'm looking at Christian Walker for Arizona. His projection on that is 8 fantasy points. He has 5 homers on the season. He's batting .234. He's getting around 3.6 at bats per game. He's averaging 6 fantasy points over 80 games. His last 3 games, fantasy point-wise, has been 14, 12, and 5. He's 2,700 on DraftKings. He's 5 for 18 against the pitcher he's facing, 2 singles, 1 double, 2 home runs. Again, he's 2,700. The over-under in this game is 11.5. I can tell you Arizona and Colorado are possible stack teams for tonight. I expect this game to be high scoring. Vegas expect this game to be high scoring. And I think we will see, these batters get 5, maybe 6 at bats this game. His last 5 against Colorado has been 5, 0, 7, 3, and 5. So Christian Walker is someone I'm definitely trying to get into my lineup at the first base position. Let's look at the second base position. At second base, I'm looking at Kike Hernandez for Boston. His projection on that is 8.2 fantasy points. He has 15 homers on the season. He's batting .253. He's getting around 3.7 at bats per game. Over 107 games, he's averaging 8 fantasy points. His last 3 games, fantasy point-wise, have been 6, 2, and 14. It's 5,200 on DraftKings. His last 5 against Texas is 3, 0, 0, 7, and 14. He is pricey, but I like Kike Hernandez in this spot today, and he's someone I'm going to try to get into my lineup at the second base position. Let's look at the third base position. At third base, I'm looking at Ryan McMahon for Colorado. Again, another player from this Colorado-Arizona game where we expect a lot of runs to be scored. His projection on that is 8. He has 18 homers on the season. He's getting around 3.5 at bats per game. He's averaging 8 fantasy points for 114 games. His last 3 games, fantasy point-wise, has been 0, 8, and 3. He's 4,500. He's 4 for 11 against the pitcher he's facing, 2 singles, 2 doubles. His last 5 against Arizona has been 5, 0, 15, 12, and 3. And just note, Colorado and Arizona did play each other last night. So Ryan is someone I'm definitely trying to get into my lineup at the third base position. Let's look at the shortstop position. At shortstop, I'm looking at Nick Ahmed for Arizona, another player from this Arizona-Colorado game. 7.8 is his projection for tonight. He has 3 homers on the season. He's batting .223. He's getting around 3.3 at bats per game. He's only averaging 5 over 108 games. His last 3 games fantasy point-wise has been 4, 11, and 0. He's 3,400 on DraftKings. He's 8 for 26 against the pitcher he's facing. That's one of the reasons I like him. 2 singles, 4 doubles, 2 home runs. Out of the 8 hits, 6 of the hits have been extra base hits. His last 5 against Colorado's been 0, 0, 7, 0, 0. I do not like that. He's coming off a 0. He's not playing that well. But this is a place where he can get back on track. He's 3,400 on DraftKings. And again, he has a 23% advantage against this pitcher. And he has great success against this pitcher in 26 at-bats. I'm going to go with the numbers here and hope Mr. Nick Ahmed gets it together tonight. He has not been playing well, so hopefully he gets it together tonight. Maybe against this pitcher he can get it going. So Nick Ahmed is someone I'm trying to get in my lineup at the shortstop position. Let's look at the outfield. In the outfield, I'm going with Fernando Tatis Jr. for San Diego. Very expensive at 6,200. His projection on that is 9.8 fantasy points. He has 34 homers on the season. He's batting .293. He's getting around 3.6 at bats per game. He's averaging 12 fantasy points over 92 games. His last 3 games, fantasy point wise, has been 14, 2, and 6. Again, he's 6,200. You commit to him, you're committing a large portion of your salary. He has a 9% advantage over the pitcher he's facing tonight. He's batting leadoff. His last 5 games has been 0, 14. Last 5 against Philadelphia has been 0, 14, 5, 19, and 6. The 6 coming from last night. I'm choosing Mr. Tatis Jr. here because San Diego is on a 4-game losing streak. They're almost about to drop out of the wild card race. Cincinnati's surging. San Diego has to get it together, and they're going to have to depend on their superstar to get it together. This isn't probably the best matchup in the outfield, but to be honest here, I'm going with my gut here that Tatis Jr. is going to get it together and come through tonight. So Fernando Tatis Jr. is someone I'm going to try to get into my lineups. I'm going to inform you to probably look at other outfielders, but I'm going with my gut here and think Tatis Jr. will get it together and help San Diego get a win today. So those are my picks for today. My picks help you. Go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. That would be greatly appreciated. Hope you learned something from this video. Thanks for watching, and see you on the next video.